Hey everybody, and welcome back to another one of Mudflap's movie reviews. My name is Mudflap, and today I will be reviewing Godzilla, the King of the Monsters. Let's get started. Godzilla King of Monsters is directed by Michael Dougherty, and it stars Kyle Chandler, Vera Farmiga, Millie Bobby Brown, and Ken Watanabe. So we open this movie where we see the aftermath from the past movie where Godzilla fought the Mutos, and Kyle Chandler's character and his family are trying to find their son who was lost, and they can't seem to find him anywhere, and they have come to the conclusions that their son is now dead. We get a look into, his name's Mark, Mark's character, and how he and his wife and his daughter were processing what happened, and they each processed it in their own way, and it eventually led them to their own separate things where they separated, and Mark went on to do science stuff, exploring stuff, and his wife went on to creating something called the Orca, which is an instrument that uses frequencies to communicate with all the Titans and supposedly use to control the Titans if is necessary. So this movie circles around the idea of that these Titans, ever since Godzilla and the Mutos showed up, organization responsible for keeping all these secrets about these Titans monarch is under a lot of heavy fire right now, and they're before a court, and the court is saying that all Titans should be killed, and there are only a few people who work for Monarch who are defending the Titans' rights and saying the Titans are actually not here to harm us, specifically Godzilla. This is where Dr. Serizawa, played by Ken Watanabe, is really heavily defending Godzilla because he understands that in his culture Godzilla is really revered as a god, and without Godzilla there, Godzilla's the top of the food chain, and then everything else beneath him are just threats to Godzilla, so they need Godzilla in order to protect them from any bigger threats, but the court doesn't see it that way, so there's a lot of political stuff in here, but there's also a lot of fighting for, it's specifically fighting for Godzilla, because as we see in the movie, Godzilla's rival, Ghidorah, arises from one of the Monarch facilities, and we get to really see Godzilla at his peak and why, and eventually some of the characters realize how important it is that Godzilla is on their side and not on Ghidorah's side, because they see how powerful Ghidorah is. Ghidorah apparently isn't like a traditional Titan. He didn't come from where all the other Titans came from. They call him a fallen angel. He's got some incredible power. Ghidorah meaning the one who is many. Yeah, it was just absolutely amazing how they just brought Ghidorah into this movie. So we got to see a lot of really cool monsters in this movie. A couple of my favorite moments were when we were first introduced to Ghidorah. We get to see a lot of showdowns between Godzilla and Ghidorah throughout the entire movie. The first one was just awesome, but as we see them constantly going at each other, it gets like next level. Every single fight is next level, and then lead up to the final fight between them, and we get to see Godzilla go thermonuclear, which was absolutely incredible. Like, I've never seen Godzilla at that peak of power before, and it was really cool to see that on screen. Also, a lot of great monsters we got to see. They said there were 17 known Titans that were being held, and they all escaped. As part of Mark's wife's, Emma's plan was to release all of these creatures because a lot of them depended on radiation, and I guess the radiation that they emit is so powerful that it actually has the power to recreate life again. So her logic was very off. This was an interesting character. Emma, I didn't really know where this was going. It was I could kind of tell it was going at some points, and it was a little predictive at moments, but she just had this solid logic in her head that what she was doing was right, and her husband Mark were saying no. Completely opposite, like the opposite is going to happen. You won't be able to control all these monsters as well as you think. It's always cool to see a character have a change of heart throughout these movies, because both Emma and Mark were just absolutely hated Godzilla. They wanted nothing to do with Godzilla, but eventually they saw that Godzilla actually was a key component in all of this. But back to the monsters, We got to see Rodan, we got to see Mothra, Ghidorah, and Godzilla. So we got to see 3 extra monsters that we hadn't seen before. There were a few other monsters in there, but I'm not super familiar with all the monsters' names, but we got to see a couple other monsters thrown in there too. But Mothra was really cool. There were a couple of really beautiful scenes with Mothra in it. The queen of the monsters, Rodan, was pretty sweet. Yeah, just the whole logic behind these monsters aren't here to harm us, they're here to save us, was always a backwards logic thing in my opinion. I always thought that logic didn't make any sense. But there are some characters who truly believe that's the case. But I just really enjoyed the ups and downs and the emotional stuff and the family messages in here. Just how important it is to, when you're going through a tragedy, the aftermath of a tragedy as well, that not to push your family away, but to bring them closer to you and to find a way together to get through whatever you're facing. So I thought that was a really beautiful message of family that was thrown into this movie that was mostly action-packed. Any Godzilla fan should absolutely love this movie if they haven't seen it. I know most people have already seen this movie, but there are a lot of people out there who I'm sure they've seen it more than once. It was absolutely amazing. Just big monsters duking it out. I mean, you couldn't ask for just better entertainment than that. So for Godzilla King of Monsters, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10 Mudflaps. And before you go, drop in the comments below, who is your favorite Titan? And as always, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, and I'll see you next time.